Hello, this is Aaron Claiborne with Wisconsin Voices for Recovery. Today I have Will with me to share his experiences about stigma. How's it going today, Will?
Pretty good, pretty good. Can't complain.
That's good. That we can't complain, but why, right?
Yeah,
All
yes.
right. Now, if you could tell me, how does stigma harm people seeking or in recovery?
Okay, so I've had personal experience and then I've had experiences with other people that I worked with, and um, the harm that stigma can cause. I've seen it all the time where a person is seeking recovery, and because they are somebody looking for help with addiction, for example, they're treated a certain way. You know, automatically in some of the locations that I've taken people to or that I've gone to, they automatically are wondering if you're a person that's um, for real about your recovery, or it's just going to be a pit stop where you stop using for a little while, gain a little weight, and go back out. You kind of like put in the classification, and I understand that the people that work in the field, it's difficult for them to gauge because there's so many people that go through this system as a revolving door, and it's hard to recognize who and who, what, where, when, and why. But I think that everyone should be treated equally as you come in through the door. I experienced that, and then I also experienced the stigma when I started working, and I was working for somebody, and all I indicated to them is that I no longer drink. And I told him about going to school, my boss. And then at one point, he asked me the personal questions that I ever had experienced myself with addiction. And I shared it with him, openly, because I felt comfortable enough to. But then, whenever there was an event for the company, a party, or a Christmas dinner, or something, I can feel him feeling uncomfortable around me and me feeling uncomfortable around them. Because they're going around, passing the bottle. And I'm like, no, coffee for me or water. And people view us like, what's wrong with you when you don't drink? You're like the oddball out. So that's been, the ones that stand out the most. And then when you go looking for a job and you have that, you put your resume together and you got that open area, that gap in there of a period where you were not working, you were not going to school. And so how do you explain that? And somebody helped me a little bit with that, but it can be quite challenging to get back on your feet, and people give you a second chance.
Yeah, there, good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you for that. So now let me ask you, how does stigma make you feel discriminated against?
Well, when uh, when you when you're a recovering addict, some places will automatically, because of your past, say, no, no way, you know, I don't want somebody like you, or, people don't want to hang out with you, people don't want to become your friend, or people may not be willing to give you an opportunity to get back on your feet. And one of the very first experiences that I had, because um, I had experienced an eviction, I owed energies, and those two things are essential when you go back to working and getting in your first apartment again. And so I asked around. I said, "Hey, how do I get an apartment if I have those things under my belt?" And when they do your background check, they're gonna see the eviction. And when you go to put your light back on, how do you get your light back on? And I worried a lot about that, and it was time for me to leave treatment, and I went looking for an apartment. And people have suggested in recovery that I tell the truth. So I went looking for an apartment, and when I went looking for the apartment, I was honest with the gentleman and explained to him that I had a background, that was not a very good one, and that I had made some changes in my life and I needed another chance. And that landlord gave me my first opportunity. When I called We Energies and trying to get the light in my name, the first lady that I spoke to said, you have a $1,400 outstanding bill and it needs to be paid right away. After I signed the lease on the apartment, I called again and I spoke to a second person, and that person said that the light was placed in my name and that I was being put into a payment plan and given a second opportunity. And so, you know, that was so helpful in my recovery because I was able to get my first apartment, get my light back on. I'm working with kids, you know, and so I'm headed in the right direction, and it's been all positive since. But I still feel like, um, you know, when you work in this field, not everybody is receptive to the work we do or our backgrounds in, you know, because a lot of times people are aware that, you know, we work in this field because we have had those experiences ourselves. And so not everybody views it positively, but that's okay. You know, I have to be able to move forward in spite of it.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank you so very much for that. I can recognize some of those issues that you've gone through. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate it. Do you have any final thoughts in our last 30 seconds before we end?
My last 30 seconds, I think, you know, one of the things that we're working with other people in the community in Milwaukee is when people leave an addiction treatment facility, that's usually never enough. And they need a place to go to, like a transitional living facility, which we have one here in Milwaukee that I also take a part of, where they are there is payment for them for the first 3 months, and then they have to pay their own way. So they get back on their feet, they start working, they save money, and then they are able to move forward. Those opportunities are very important for somebody in recovery, you know, trying to start all over again. And I think it's essential.
Yeah, very essential. All right. Thank you, William. I appreciate it that you were here to share your experience with Stigma with such great information. Everybody, please check back every day during the month of July to view others sharing their experience with Stigma. Have a great rest of your day. And Will, thanks again. I appreciate it.
Thank you, and it's nice to meet you.
You also. Thanks. Bye.
Take care.